Hey besties, you already know Baddie on a budget. This lovely baby here is a 24-inch deep wave Amazon wig. This is straight out the pack, how it looked on my head. It was, you know what I'm saying, definitely doing something straight out the pack. However, you can see the knots, so I definitely did bleach them. They actually took very well to the bleach, so I was very happy about that because afterwards it did look like it was coming out my scalp. One thing that I will tell y'all is that I wish that I would have put the makeup on before I cut the lace or put any glue, just because I feel like it made it a little cakey when I did it in this sequence. So if I could go back and change anything, I would have changed that part of the process. Here I'm just putting my lace glue. I'm spreading it around the hairline and around the bald cap, but you can definitely see like the demarcation of the makeup where it meets my braids and the makeup ends, and that is just not cute. So I ain't gonna lie, I was just too far in at this point, so I was like, you gotta see it through, my boy. I love using my rat tail comb. Like, it serves a lot of purposes for me. So here I'm just trying to like fix whatever the heck I got going on in the front of the cap. And like I said, I'm gonna see it through, so I'm just trying to, you know, remedy it in any way I can. I already had that stick for a braided wig that I had got a long time ago, so I had that left over, and it does work good for as far as the knots. But in my case, I just feel like I overdid it. Like, I feel like I put my makeup on the cap, I also bleached the knots, and then on top of that, I also had it in the inside of the lace. So I just did like a triple whammy there. And yes, I did like when I part my hair, it did look, you know, very much natural. However, I feel like I used way too much product to do all of that. Like, I'm sure I could have got the same look with maybe using half of the products that I actually did use. Here I'm just fitting the cap on my head. Again, I'm using my rat tail comb. I'm trying to push back any of the stray hairs or anything that's just blocking my view from seeing, you know, where the hairline's sitting on my head. And I'm just here melting it. I'm making sure that I'm pulling the lace and making sure that it's just spread correctly on my head. You do not want that lace to melt the wrong way. You almost want it in like an M shape, where it fits your head without having any creases or any type of weird overlaps in the middle of your head. You want it to make sense. Here I am looking at the part and examining what I got going on, how close do I cut the lace, and if I did lay it correctly. Yeah, that thing's swinging, period. Swing! Alright, so here's the part where after I cut the lace and I was just inspecting everything, and I'm gonna be honest, this is when I went out to the club, and this is the next day. I am taking out the baby hairs. I just didn't have time to like fully finesse the wig the way I wanted to, so I just went out with my friends the way it looked literally in the last slide. Here I'm just taking out the baby hairs. I did like some quick baby hairs in the front, and now I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to do the TikTok viral claw clip hairdo. So I'm just right now taking off any residue as far as like edge control and nonsense. You will see my wig lifting a little bit. However, I have the even maximum hold spray, so I just sprayed a little bit of that and put my wig band, and we were back in business, period. Don't even play with me. You see that part? Who's gonna tell me that ain't grow out my scalp? Who? Period. So here I'm just checking out the parts. I'm checking out if my baby hairs that I did the day before is gonna make sense with this hairdo, or what can I do, you know, to make it look like an appropriate hairdo with what I already did the day before. So I'm checking out like my front two pieces that are supposed to be hanging in the front. Here I am parting it, and I'm just basically looking at where I should part my wig, if it's thin or full enough. it's too full, how I should part it, and what would make it still look like a good hairdo with the parts and the baby hair that I already have to work with. Mind you, I am not familiar with curly wigs, so this is still a new realm for me. This is actually my first actual curly wig where I had to do some maintenance, had to, style it a bit. I've never had that situation, so this was a bit challenging. I did try to do as much research as I could. Also, what helped me a lot is this wig actually came with care instructions, so that also did give me some good ideas on how to maintain the hair. Here, I'm still checking the baby hairs. I'm making sure that I am able to part every section of the hair, work with my baby hairs, and also have enough leave out in the front of my hair. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of measuring how I want to part everything to make sure that, it's an appropriate ratio and that my hairstyle comes out right. Here, I was just separating my front leave out from the middle part that I'm going to be tying in the back of my head. So here I'm just checking the parts again. I'm just trying to figure out, like I said, I'm not really familiar with, deep wave wigs. I've done body wave. I've done a whole lot of different waves, but this one not. So here I'm just checking to make sure that I am mimicking the correct hairstyle. And that's pretty much what you're seeing here. I'm just parting it, I'm tying it, I'm separating it. And this is kind of what I do with my real hair when I'm doing, swoops or a half ponytail. It's kind of the same sense. So I am familiar in that sense of, how to separate or the parts and how the hairdo goes. And I basically did the baby hairs over and over just because I did the baby hairs and I needed the leave out. And I needed both of them to make sense with each other. So that's why you're seeing me redoing the parts for the baby hair and my leave out. It's just because, and also the lace. I was just trying to make sure that, it's covering enough of the lace as well, just so I can have something that looks, a bit seamless. But here I'm just checking to see if I want it thick, how do I want it in the front. And I'm pretty much going off a whim over here. I don't really know what I'm doing, like I said, but it did end up coming out nice. So I was really happy with the outcome. I will say that. So I am glad that I did take my time. I did part it. And this is what I wish I would have done from the beginning. However, I had to go out that night and I was just like, whatever, I'll just continue this tomorrow. But this is originally the hairdo that I was shooting for. Here, this is my final part that I did decide to go with. And this, as you can see, I have it clipped in the back right now. And I have everything sectioned. So it's the baby hairs and the leave out in the front. Then in the middle, I did it could have went probably more back if I wanted it to, but I made it a kind of smaller sections in the middle, just because I was just trying to make sure I have a correct ratio with the wig that I have. This is an Amazon wig, so you know what I'm saying, I need to make sure I ain't looking crazy. As you can see, I'm going through it with the wide tooth comb because that in the instructions and the little booklet from the beginning of the video, that told me that I need to be styling my hair with the wide tooth comb. So I am just going through it with my wide tooth comb. Always go from the bottom. I don't know who the hell started that shit where people are freaking combing out their hair from the top to the bottom. That don't make no damn sense because you're doing shit ass backwards. Are you gonna do that with your hair? Go from the top to the bottom? No, exactly. So don't do that shit with your wig. Period. Treat your wig the same way you'll treat your hair. Here, I'm just finally, I'm starting the hairdo. I'm gelling the middle. I don't know. I think I put some edge control or gel. I really cannot remember now that I'm thinking about it. But I put something in the middle just to hold it down and have that sleek look. I put a little regular rubber band in the back of my head. I didn't put more than one. It was literally just one little black rubber band. And here I'm just tying it. As you can see, I have the front claw clip holding my leave out and my edges, and then I have in the back separated the hair that's gonna be put in a half ponytail. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just tying the back so I can continue with the hairdo. That is how the back looked when I was doing it. It's literally very easy, just rubber band. Here I am going to do now the half ponytail. and then figure out how to do the claw clip. And here I'm just trying to part it. Like I said, I want to make sure I'm doing the right ratios. So I was just, making sure I'm like very analytical. So as far as like ratios, percentages, and I want things to make sense. You don't want to be looking out there all discombobulated, have a big old ponytail and a little bit of hanging out in the back. No, I want it to look proportioned, okay? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making sure everything makes sense. Even though I did not familiar with deep wave hair, we have common sense. So always rely on that. When in doubt, use your common sense, folks. So here I finally parted the half. This is what I was happy with. I think I'm going to try this hairdo again. If I do, I'm going to play with it a little bit and see how I can make it a little bit. I like the way it came out, to be honest, but I am going to try it again just to see if I could finesse it a little more. Here I'm figuring out how to use the claw clip because, we don't get down with no claw clip. But look, y'all, it came out on you, Baddie. You can't tell me I ain't no bad. I ain't Puerto Rican. I really am Puerto Rican, but you could tell with this hair, my culture is coming through. Don't play with it. I'm out here. Follow me.